let's talk about the matchup last week. I was able to see you play Grayson. Heard you was dealing with kind of a stomach bug there all week long, missed 3 days of school. Man, you still was out there just balling. I mean, you give your team the momentum coming right out the gate. A second half, third quarter, you take the kickoff, 89 yards for the touchdown. Then you take a 55-yard, basically in breaking route, hitch route, and you guys are only down 21-14. I mean, you gave your team a lot of momentum. How were you able just to battle through, feeling sick, not feeling your best, and still put it all on the line for your team?
Yeah, I was real disappointed in myself how I played in the first half. I kind of there was a go route that I had that I was kind of jogging on that I wasn't expected to get the ball, and Dylan and he threw it to me, and I got chewed out because of it. I wasn't running full speed, and so I got in the locker room at halftime, and we were only down 14-0, and it was obviously anybody's game at that point, and so. Me and some of the guys were talking and what we can do to put ourselves in position to win the game, and then they put me in the slot just for that hitch route, and that play is just kind of designed to get 3 or 4 yards, and then the safety was playing 10 yards off, and so I kind of looked up when I caught the ball, and it was just kind of me and him because my receiver on the left had the guy all blocked up, and so I kind of put a move on him and hit the sideline, and I kept running, and nobody nobody had tackled me yet, and so that was a big momentum. That was probably the fastest I've scored back to back. So when I got to the sideline, everyone was trying to chest bump me, and I was like, "I need a trash can! I need a trash can!"
You needed the oxygen tank.
Yeah, no kidding.
You was only a receiver for 1.5 years. How have you been able to learn the position so well? And now we're starting to see you flourish. We've seen you do kick returns. We've seen you do all kind of stuff. Just take short hitch routes and take it to the house. Just how has that development been for you? And what are some other things that, you just want to just continue to hone on just to continue to be better, to be good?
Yeah, it's definitely coaching staff, and just when I was an underclassman, looking at the people above me, because obviously the Denylon and Sam were probably the best two people in the nation that I could be shadowing there for a while, and so kind of just seeing how much they work when practice isn't in session with just footwork and explosive drills and making sure you watch the ball all the way to your hands. And I've had two really good wide receiver coaches. One's Andre Sims, and he took a job at Syracuse, so he's there now, and they're doing pretty well right now. And then we
They
have
are.
one now, Coach Collins, and he's definitely helped develop me the most in the short time he's been here. He's been here since June, and me and all my friends, we have a great relationship with him. He's kind of like one of our friends. We joke with him like he was still in high school, and he played at Georgia Southern. He actually played here at Brookwood and won a state championship. So
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of Sports Talk with Nas. Today, I am here with wide receiver Bryce Dopson for the Brookwood Broncos. Very excited to talk to this young man. He's a very explosive receiver, man. Definitely D1 bound, man. And Bryce, just give us a little introduction to yourself, man. Where you from, and where you go to school at?
yeah, sir. My name is Bryce Dopson. I'm a class of 2023, and I attend Brookwood High School in Snellville, Georgia.
Yes, sir. And man, just walk me through how has the last 24 hours been for you? I mean, I know I talked to your dad. He said you only had an Army offer, then you had Stetson, and then now it's like you're racking them up. You got Georgia Tech coming in, Georgia State. Just how's it been for you the past 24 to 48 hours?
Yeah, it's definitely been different. It's something that I haven't been used to for a little bit, and once Georgia Tech and Coach Kenyatta Watson FaceTimed me last night, it kind of opened the floodgates, I guess. And so he offered last night, and that was awesome. And then this morning about 5:30, we had a team practice at 6:15. So right when I got up, the wide receiver coach at Georgia State wanted to get on the phone and just wanted to get to know each other. And so he offered me this morning, and I think I'll be at the game on Saturday versus Old Dominion. And then I've been in contact with Mississippi State as well. They've been talking to my head coach and stuff like that. So it's definitely been an adjustment, and my phone's been blowing up a little bit more than it usually does. But it's a good feeling.
Yeah, man, we love to see it. And I know you were talking. You got Player of the Month award ceremony the past night, correct?
Yes, sir. That's where I was last night.
How was that? How was that for you?
It was good. I was there with my quarterback, and I was there with another one of my receivers and some of my O linemen and linebackers. So there was 8 of us, and there was a bunch of good players. There's a bunch of Parkview players. We'll play them tomorrow. Grayson was there. Obviously, everybody in the county. So it was a good atmosphere with a bunch of good football players.
Nice, man. I'm sure it was nice to be a part of that. Now, I found out too from your dad that you actually played quarterback as a freshman and a sophomore. So was that true? And then kind of how was that playing that role kind of as a freshman and sophomore at Brookwood?
Yeah, that's what I played when I was a freshman and when I was a sophomore. So, Dylan, our quarterback, obviously got moved up to freshman or to varsity when he was a freshman, and so they were kind of looking for somebody because we didn't really have anybody on our 8th grade B team who played quarterback, and our quarterbacks coach was my Spanish teacher when I was a freshman, and so
Nice.
he kind of asked me if I want to start learning the playbook and doing some stuff. And it was obviously 9th grade football, so we weren't going to throw it as much as the varsity team did. So we did a bunch of read options and just direct snaps and stuff like that. And it was a lot of fun. I was pretty much a running back. I ran the ball way more than I passed it. And so it was a lot of fun. And it kind of showed the coaches up on varsity that I was pretty fast and I could evade defenses. So that's what kind of started my high school career. And then obviously when I was a sophomore, we had Denial on Morset and Sam Mbake on our varsity team. So I didn't really play too much receiver that year either. And so I was still our JV quarterback when I was a
Yeah.
sophomore. And that season was pretty good. That's when I started growing a little bit. And so um, we did a lot more stuff up the middle instead of bouncing outside all the time. And then last year was a good year of high school. I broke my collarbone over the summer, so it was a little bit late start to the season, and I ended pretty well. Our team was really really good last year, and then this year obviously just training over the summer with track and taking track a lot more seriously in the off season. It's definitely translated to the field and helped me run away from defense and stuff like that.
Yeah, we see it on the field. I remember one of your plays, just your sophomore year, it was like I think it was just a first down. You just took the ball back, you were waiting a little bit, and then you just took it straight to the house. He was gone. You just see the speed on the field right there. And I thought that highlight, man, was just super dope. And speaking about track, man, just kind of tell me like if you had to advocate for players or you had a friend or whatever, would you tell like more players, hey, you should run track, this will really help your speed? Like what's kind of the parallel or the kind of the correlation between running track and kind of it translating into the fall on the field, on the football field?
Yeah, definitely. Track is obviously not in basketball season, so we have a bunch of kids that play basketball on our football team. So it's kind of just an off season in the spring. And so I definitely tell a bunch of my wide out friends and some of my tight ends on the team to run track. Even if you're not gonna go to the meets and stuff like that, just to compete, you can just go to practice and learn some of the more technical stuff and like how to stride out and how to move your arms and stuff like that. But I definitely will recommend it to them all the time. And we're trying to get a little bit more out this year because our track team could try to win a state championship this year because we're pretty stacked. And yeah, the track speed is definitely different than football speed is because there's some people who are really really fast on the football field because they have short bursts and stuff. But once they come out to the track, it's a little bit different because there's no stopping at all.
Right.
But the track speed to the football field is definitely there's definitely no negatives to it. You can run away from as many people as you want, and it definitely has helped me this year, especially training with the track team in the off season in the summer.
Exactly. And then your dad said you had some offers too from like Alabama. I think it was Princeton and track and stuff like that. So just for you, ideally, would you want to play both when you're in school, or just which one would you prefer, or would you rather play both if you had to play on the next level?
I get asked that a lot. It's kind of still up in the air right now. It just probably depend the school, more or less. Because if I were to run at Princeton, that's probably one of the best track offers I have, just because of how high they are. They're kind of slept on, to be honest. You kind of think Ivy League and stuff like that, but once you look up like the national meet and stuff, they were like fifth indoor and seventh outdoor, so they were higher than all
Wow.
the SEC and ACC teams last year, and so they've been doing real well, and they have a good 23 recruiting class right now. But stuff like that. To play both, it kind of have to be an academy or an Ivy League, just because of how early the Ivy Leagues end in like November, because they don't go very far. They don't play all the bowl games and stuff like that. And then at a big school like a Georgia Tech or an Alabama, it would definitely be real, real difficult just because of how far and how long their season goes on, and it'll kind of interfere with the indoor track season. And in high school, I've obviously done three sports, and I never really have focused on one. And so I don't know. As of right now, I kind of just want to do one when I go to a school, just to put all my eggs in one basket and see how good I can be at one with just training 365 days a year, because I obviously don't do that now. And that's kind of where I'm at now, but it's still kind of up in the air. I'd know better kind of after football mid track season if I want to do both, and what schools reach out and what schools are willing to let me do both.
Okay, got you. That's exciting, man, to be able to do that many sports, swimming, track, football. I mean, that's pretty impressive. And for you, just going a little bit more on football, you know, you was only receiver for 1.5 years. How have you been able to learn the position so well? And now we're starting to see you flourish. We've seen you do kick returns. We've seen you do all kind of stuff. Just take short hitch routes and take it to the house. Just
Mhm.
how has that development been for you? And what are some other things that you just want to just continue to hone on, just to continue to be better, to be good.
Yeah, it's definitely coaching staff, and just when I was an underclassman, looking at the people above me, because obviously the Denylon and Sam were probably the best two people in the nation that I could be shadowing there for a while. And so kind of just seeing how much they work when practice isn't in session, with just footwork and explosive drills, and making sure you watch the ball all the way to your hands. And I've had two really good wide receiver coaches. One's Andre Sims, and he took a job at Syracuse, so he's there now, and they're doing pretty well right now. And then we
They
have
are.
one now, Coach Collins, and he's definitely helped develop me the most in the short time he's been here. He's been here since June, and me and all my friends, we have a great relationship with him. He's kind of like one of our friends. We joke with him like he was still in high school, and he played at Georgia Southern. He actually played here at Brookwood and won a state championship. So it's kind of the winning mentality we have around Brookwood, and all the coaches with all the NFL experience that they've played, and just stuff like that. And just in the off season with Dylan, going to big grass fields, or coming down the stadium just to go through the route tree every Sunday with some of the guys. And just repetition pretty much, and just making sure you're never really out of football shape, because once the season starts, it starts fast, and you don't have anything holding you back when the season starts.
Exactly. And now let's talk about the matchup last week. I was able to see you play Grayson. Heard you was dealing with kind of a stomach bug there all week long, missed 3 days of school. Man, you still was out there just balling. I mean, you give your team the momentum coming right out the gate. A second half, third quarter, you take the kickoff, 89 yards for the touchdown. Then you take a 55-yard, basically in breaking route, hitch route, and you guys are only down 21-14. I mean, you gave your team a lot of momentum. How were you able just to battle through, feeling sick, not feeling your best, and still put it all on the line for your team?
Yeah, I was real disappointed in myself how I played in the first half. I kind of there was a go route that I had that I was kind of jogging on, that I wasn't expected to get the ball, and Dylan and he threw it to me, and I got chewed out because of it. I wasn't running full speed, and so I got in the locker room at halftime, and we were only down 14-0, and it was obviously anybody's game at that point. And so me and some of the guys were talking, and what we can do to put ourselves in position to win the game. And so one of those was definitely getting the momentum back, even if it wasn't scoring on that opening drive, getting a big return to set our offense up for short field and make it a lot easier on them. But at kickoff team, we instead of setting the wedge on the hash that I caught it on, we decided to go all the way to the other side on our sideline to kind of throw them off, and that's what we did. And I got a bunch of good blocks, and I hit the hole, and then it was just me and the kicker, and one of my linebackers picked the kicker up, and so I scored on that one. And then they obviously drove down pretty fast right after that happened, and it was still a 14-point game, which was again anybody's game. And then they put me in the slot just for that hitch route, and that play is just kind of designed to get 3 or 4 yards. And then the safety was playing 10 yards off, and so I kind of looked up when I caught the ball, and it was just kind of me and him, because my receiver on the left had the guy all blocked up, and so I kind of put a move on him and hit the sideline, and I kept running, and nobody had tackled me yet, and so that was a big momentum. that was probably the fastest I've scored back to back. So when I got to the sideline, everyone was trying to chest bump me, and I was like, "I need a trash can. I need a trash can."
You need the oxygen tank.
Yeah, no kidding.
Definitely. And for you, obviously, I know you run track. Would you attribute some of like that speed and burst that we seen on film? I mean, I even did your tape that today, and I seen you just against Bishop Gorman, nationally ranked team, Power Five, offers on the secondary. I mean, you just took a 72-yard, same thing, this inward breaking route, and you took it almost 75 yards for a touchdown. So where does that speed and burst kind of come from for you?
Definitely the short burst type of training we do, especially out of the blocks during track practice. Just the kind of the bounding drills too, just kind of getting the explosion off every single step. And I'm obviously a sprinter. I don't really run anything over the 400, and so when we run the 200, just keeping you kind of do high knees the whole time. So once you start moving your feet fast, it's kind of just it's off to the races. And so it definitely I definitely give the big plays and the big bursts to track training, because just football, we don't do that type of stuff at practice. We just do a lot of installs and stuff like that. But it definitely helps when I'm training track in the off season to and kind of see it translate on the big stage like that.
Exactly. And then, I was able to talk to your coach last week, Philip Jones, and he said, you and Dylan were, best of friends, and, how you guys kind of developed that connection. Y'all been playing since y'all was kids. So just I want to hear from you and your perspective, man. How are you guys able to get so close? And we see on the field, you guys are kind of, in unison and one, and it really clicks. So, where do you think that stems from? And talk to me a little about a relationship with Dylan.
Yeah, so I've kind of bounced around in the youth league things, and he actually has two. And so I started off at Parkview, and when I was little, because that's where I lived, and then I played at Grayson with all the Grayson guys I played against last week, and we won 3 or 4 championships. And one of my other receivers, Miles Massengill, our slot receiver, he played on the Grayson team when we won a couple championships, and him and Dylan were they went to the same school at Peachtree Ridge, and they've been lifelong friends. And so he brought Dylan over when we all came over to play at Brookwood in 8th grade. And his mom is my dad's athletic secretary, and so they work about 10 feet apart every day. And we've had 2 or 3 classes together every single year since freshman year, and so that definitely allows a lot of communication and just building friendship among the day. And he lives right down the street, and so we spend the night and play video games, go watch movies at the movie theater with some other guys on the team, and just kind of do what high schoolers do, go out to eat all the time. And we try to build a big student section at all of our other sporting events. And so I guess just being around them 24 hours a day, pretty much every single day, and hanging out with them even on the weekends, just kind of translates and builds a friendship outside of football. So when we get to practice, it's just kind of it's very smooth. And especially when we've been throwing, because he used to live in Sugarloaf, who has a big like golf course grass field and the thing. So we'd get a bunch of the guys
Gotcha.
over quarantine, and we'd throw routes, throw the route tree, and just so he knows how I get in and out of breaks, and so he knows how fast I can run, see if I'm jogging, and just putting it right where it needs to be every time. And it's just helped a lot.
Definitely. And for you, obviously I know you play in the youth leagues, but where did your love of football come from? What was that, if you had to say one player or just that one play you maybe seen when you were a little kid that just was like, man, I want to play this one day.
Yeah, when my dad had the job at Collins Hill when I was in 1st grade, I was the ball boy when I was 4 years old. And so
Nice.
I guess being around the high schoolers and the which seemed like celebrities when I was a 1st grader, it was kind of cool. And I've always wanted to be them one day. Even I'd always want to be a high school football player before a college player, because at that point I didn't really know college football and high school football really were in connection. And so I just always wanted to be like them when I was little, being around them every single Friday. And then then when he took the job at Brookwood, I was also the ball boy from 6th grade to 7th grade with some of the guys around here that were on the sidelines with me. And that's when I met all the coaches, because we haven't really had a big coaching staff change, and they've all been here for 10 some years like that. And so just knowing the coaches for how long I've known them, and playing ball boy and playing football when I was little, just to try to be like the celebrities at the school, is kind of where it started. And then I started playing football and I fell in love with it, and I've played every single year since third grade.
Nice. Wow, what a story. And then for you, like, is there anybody, NFL, college, that you just model your game after? Like, this is a guy I kind of just grew up, rooting for, and I kind of idolize my game after him. Or are you just kind of an original? Like, I just love the sport. This is what I'm gonna do, and I kind of have my own style.
Yeah, there's definitely some people I like watching, like Stephon Diggs and Justin Jefferson, and I don't even know if there's really a player that I can compare myself to, because I don't know a lot of people who do so many sports and stuff like that, and play as many different things, I guess, as I do. Even though there's a lot of athletes in the country in the NFL, like the kick return stuff, and then the slot, and playing outside, and playing a little bit of DB in high school and quarterback. It's kind of different, I guess. That's what people kind of tell me, is that it's different and they've never seen something like that before. But there's definitely a bunch of people that I enjoy watching and stuff like that. But they're obviously a lot different than I am, and I'm a lot different than they are. So it's kind of there's definitely stuff like some celebrations me and my friends do, or some
Definitely.
specific like cuts on a post route or stuff like that, that I can take and put into my game. But like I said, I don't think there's anyone like me, or I don't think there's anybody that I'm like them.
Exactly. And then for you, I found out too, high GPA for you, 3.9. A lot of times you could say you see, athletes kind of struggle with school, but that's kind of
Mhm.
different for you. So, I mean, if you had to give any advice to anybody just that's struggling with them, what would you say to somebody just to be able to kind of balance both? Because sometimes you see athletes struggle. They won't care about school, they only care about sports. Sports is the only way out. But for you, you care about both and you do both exceptionally well.
Yeah, it's both my parents have been in education for a long time, and so they've always preached good grades, even when I didn't want to hear it. And definitely they've showed me that life after athletics is way more important than athletics. And like, just like the Princeton and stuff opportunities, tech stuff like that, is definitely a big honor, and a big and it helps a lot with, once my athletic career is over, in however many years, I'll have a degree from one of those places, and be able to set me and my family up for a long time. So that's kind of what has helped me, is just seeing in the future and wanting to be successful and never struggling. And so, and high school grades are definitely what can get you into colleges and set you up for life after sports. And that's definitely what my parents have been preaching, and showed me that, whatever profession I want to go into, just look into the 40-year plan, and not the 4-year plan.
Agreed. And then for you, obviously, this is kind of a two-sided question. What would be like an ideal place, you would want to go just far as college? Just, man, that's cool. If I could ever go, that would check my box to go in there. And then the other side of the question is, you're still young, still in your senior year, but is there any major anything that kind of sticks out to you? Like, what's kind of some of your passions or things like, outside of football, like, hey, I would love to do that.
hmm just to start off with that, what I want to do as a profession when I get older is weird, but I want to be a dentist or an orthodontist, and it's kind of been my focus for the longest time. My uncle's a dentist; he has his own practice, so kind of just the cycle in my head is, once I go through dental school and get the degree, is about the time he'd want to retire. And so I could buy him out, or he could just give it down to me, and take over. So that's kind of been the plan for a while. And I guess if I get to college, and some of those organic chemistries and stuff like that make me want to change my major, that'll always happen. But that's kind of what I've been on track for since I was little, and it hasn't changed so far. But for the next thing, definitely, going up north would never be an issue for me. But definitely staying down south, would be, with the heat and just the winters not being very harsh, would definitely be ideal. It doesn't really matter, but staying down south, staying close to home would always be great. going somewhere in Florida, or Georgia or one of the Carolinas, Mississippi. Just like I said, down in the South would be ideal, and just a close trip to home and a close trip to all my friends playing college football, where we could in the bye weeks kind of link up and stuff like that. Um, I've been down to Florida with some friends. I've been to Duke and stuff like that on some track visits, and I really like the campus at Duke. And one of my childhood friends went down to Tallahassee the other week for a Florida State Clemson game, and we really love the area. We love Tallahassee. It's definitely a good college town, and there's a lot of good people down there. But we'll see what happens with recruitment. See if anything in Florida or Carolinas or anything like that opens up. And obviously, really love Georgia Tech. I'm a big city guy, and so being right down in downtown Atlanta is definitely a big thing for me. And off days, going down in Atlanta, going to the aquarium, going to some of the Braves games because I'm a huge Braves fan. That'd be a lot of fun with some of the guys. But some of the things I like to do in my off time is, like I said, we go out to eat a lot as a team. There's 3 or 4 of us, me and my tight end and quarterback and other wide receivers, who go out to eat almost every single week, just at different places. And we have a lot of superstitions. So every Thursday we gotta do the same thing every single week and eat the same thing and sit in the same spot. And so that's a lot of fun. And we watch movies, and we'll obviously get in a bunch of big PlayStation parties on the weekend and play video games, stuff like that. And obviously, none of us really watch sports, though. It's kind of funny.
Interesting.
There's never been a day where we really go and like turn on a college football game and really watch it, because we're all in kind of different areas watching what teams we like. Because Dylan, obviously, he's a Bama guy, and both of my parents went to Georgia, so Georgia games always on in the house, and just stuff like that. But yeah, it's real busy all the time. There's never a day where we're really just we're laying around alone. But it's kind of, if we're all bored, we'll just go to someone's house and just be all bored together, and it's just kind of the mindset we have. And so just stuff like that. And we like I said, we watch a lot of movies. We just saw the that Smile movie a couple
How was
weeks ago.
that?
And then it was actually real scary. Me and Dylan were running out of theater like some little girls. It was pretty scary. And then me and Evan and Dylan watched it was at Black Adam. We watched that
Okay.
literally 2 days ago at the Mall of Georgia, and it was a good movie. And that's just kind of what we do.
Nice, man. And just a couple more questions, man, before I let you get out of here. Like for you, coming into the season, what were some of your personal goals you wanted to accomplish, and things you wanted to do this season?
Yeah, definitely the main goal that's easiest to track is I wanted 1,000 yards and 10 touchdowns this year. Just because 10 touchdowns is kind of like wow, and once you hit that 1,000 yard mark, that's also like wow, that's real productive season. And so I'm at 9 touchdowns and 1,008 yards, and I still got 2 guaranteed games. And so I'll try to get that 1 touchdown to get that goal. But definitely, it was definitely to open up my football recruitment a little bit more, and just balling out to see who takes a chance, and see if the floodgates will open once 1 or 2 do it. And that's obviously, it started off slow, and I was just being patient, and it obviously happened yesterday. And so obviously getting a lot more followers and a lot of people looking at Huddle, and a lot of people tweeting about me and stuff like that. And so it's definitely a dream come true, and just seeing all the hard work pay off. And it's a lot of fun to know that there's people watching, stuff like that. And then that was a good. We definitely wanted to be a playoff team, which we obviously are now. And beating Parkview is one of our biggest goals as a team. It's in our locker room, and it's kind of what we look forward to every year, just because of how close they are, and how we know everybody, and we battle in every single sport, and it doesn't really matter the record. So beating Parkview tomorrow night would be definitely a big check on our box. And then just going through the playoffs and seeing who we get, and making a run for it like we did last year, and just kind of balling out as seniors, and just owing it to everybody on our team, and just playing for one another.
Exactly. You actually, the transition of what I wanted to talk about, that Parkview game. Obviously, that's a crosstown rival. You said the goal is in the locker room, beat Parkview. So in a game like this, is there any big message from the Coach Jones, that he's telling you guys? You guys kind of already know, hey, we got to go in here, we got to do this, and so in order to come to victory. How's this kind of week look like for you before this game against Parkview in this big region game?
Yeah, we obviously lost against Grayson, so it's kind of a get back week no matter who it was going to be against. And they've lost two in a row and they got beat on homecoming, so they're definitely coming to this game as hard as they can be. And we beat them pretty good last year at home or at their place, and so we're back at their place again. So they obviously he's kind of preached that it's not going to be given to us just because of what we did to them last year. And they obviously were real young last year, and this year they're big high time recruits everywhere on the field. And there's going to be a lot of people watching. There's going to be a season high amount of fans there tomorrow night, and so it'll be a big stage. And just kind of we were real physical at practice this week. We kind of talked as a bunch of captains this weekend and kind of thought that what we did against Grayson wasn't very satisfactory, and we were kind of playing a little bit soft and scared. And we opened practice up on Monday with Oklahoma, and we kind of got a lot of energy going. We translated every single day through practice, and I'd say this is probably our best week of offensive practice. We've played real well. We did a lot of tempo stuff, and we did real well with it. We've got a lot of kicking. We've done pretty well on field goals and stuff like that. We haven't done too many trick plays just because we're not sure how close the game's going to be and stuff like that. And we still have another region game after that, so we don't want to pull too many out. But definitely how he doesn't want us to rise the occasion. He just wants us to play like how we know to, and like we're trained and taught to. So it's definitely a big game, and he's tried to keep it on the low and just try to make it like every other game. But just with all of us knowing so many of those people over there, and how even when we go to basketball games or baseball games later on in the year, it'll be who cares about those games. It'll be who won the football game that year, because that's kind of what we did last year every time we played them. So definitely a big game, and I'm hoping I can play pretty well because there's gonna be a lot of people watching. And obviously with Mike Matthews and some of their other higher time recruits playing DB and corner. I think he got an Oklahoma offer a couple of days ago. It'll be a good test to see what the DBs look like in the next level. And just kind of once we get deep in the playoffs and everybody's good, it'll be a good indicator of what we can do later on in the season.
For sure. And final question, man. This is kind of a fun question. Obviously, for you, you say you like to eat, man. Tell me, what's your favorite food? First part of the question, and then second, man. I'm also a Braves fan. That was a tough season. I mean, we played so well, and then we ended up
Yeah,
losing. So I'm a big Ronald Acuna fan. But tell me
yeah.
too, on the Braves, who's your favorite player, and what you thought about the season too, man?
It's definitely Ronald Acuna or Dansby Swanson. Last year was definitely Jock Peterson. He just brought the energy every
He
single
did.
game. And we went to the NLCS last year when he hit that moonshot over the chop house, and
Nice.
that atmosphere was ridiculous. And so I'm obviously a huge Braves fan. When they won the World Series, I opened up the front door and started screaming through the street when they won. Um, so yeah, definitely a big Braves guy. And this season, like you said, they battled back, came back 13 games, and then just they couldn't produce once playoffs started, and kind of
Uh-oh.
sucked. So I'm obviously, even though I don't like the Astros, I'm going for the Astros because I don't like the Phillies even more than I like them. But favorite food, gosh, I like Chipotle. I like to get a bowl at Chipotle. I think I ate there last night. Another one is Chili's. It's very versatile, and so a bunch of the guys will just get there and line up and get different things and stuff like that and socialize. And then after every game, we go to Wild Wings right down the street, and they'll leave it open for us until about 2 in the morning after some late night games. And it's just a
Nice.
bunch of wings and a bunch of the student section guys and stuff like that. So we get pretty loud in there. There's always a game on or a TV show on. So those are probably the main three. There's obviously a lot of fast food restaurants that we go to around here, and we go to Racetrack a lot. As crazy as it sounds, we get a slushie every single Thursday. That's one of our superstitions, but like I said, I like Chipotle, Chili's, and going there after the games, socializing.
Nice, man. Well, I just want to say, Bryce, man, it's a pleasure talking to you, man. You seem like a very, well put together young man, very respectful. Man, I'm excited that you got these offers, man. Georgia State, Georgia Tech, Mississippi State's looking, Pitt's looking. So, I mean, I just wish you nothing but success the rest of the season, man. Hoping your team can make a nice run, down the stretch, man. And hopefully we can get you guys another game on TV, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate the interview, and appreciate you being out at that Grayson game. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, sir. But yeah, man, don't be a stranger, man. Hopefully we can talk again soon, man. If you got anybody too that ever wants to, come talk sports with me, just as far as high school players, man, we'd love to chop it up with them.
Awesome, awesome. Yes, sir. We'll definitely stay in contact.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Appreciate you.